Hi, everyone. Welcome to welcome to my office here in Church of the Young Prophets, our LGBTQIA plus nonprofit. Mute the video. This is our LGBTQIA plus led Church of the Young Prophets, which is part of Young Prophets Collective, a 501c3 nonprofit that I am the pastor and executive director of. And I'm just starting this stream. This might become a thing, we'll see, as we get ready for worship. Our worship is every Saturday. It's entirely LGBTQIA plus led, mostly young adults, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. And we are worshiping on Saturdays so that we don't interfere with the physical churches that folks might attend on Sundays or that they might lead. A lot of folks come here to be in queer community who are pastors or worship leaders in other spaces on Sundays. So we have church worship every Saturday. Worship, that is. We believe church is more than worship. It is worship and more. Church is a way of life, something we be and become. I say that a lot here. But I just wanted to show you my virtual church office. Here you can see my little avatar dancing, throwing some confetti for you. This is my office as I prepare for worship. I wanted to bring you all along into my office, see what a morning or afternoon, evening, my time here in Vienna, Austria is like as I prepare for worship. So as I said, our worship starts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturdays, so in 1 hour, 50 minutes. For Eastern Time folks in the United States, that's 11 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. in the United Kingdom, 6 p.m. here in Central Europe, where I am, and 8 p.m. in East Africa. And so you're invited to join us here in our virtual church campus on GatherTown. You can find that link on our website, youngprophetscollective.org. Then you'll click on Church of the Young Prophets, and that will give you the link to join us here. Or you can find us on Facebook Live or Zoom. And so you can find Church of the Young Prophets Collective on Facebook Live or Zoom, and you can join us for worship there as well. But I'd love for you to join us here in our virtual campus on Gather. So I'm just preparing for worship in a little bit and thought that I would stop on here to to show you what it's like behind the scenes as I prepare for worship. So I've got this office here, my virtual office. People stop in throughout the day. Let me see if anyone's in the comments before we continue on. I've got a little helper. R2D2 is my virtual helper. And I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so if anyone out there likes Star Wars, let me know in the comments. I'm going to share this link with some of our virtual church folks so that they can pop in to take a look at what we're doing. But let me show you a little bit about my worship prep here as I prepare for worship. Let's see. Want to see this live video to send this out to our folks. All right, we'll put that in Discord. And this is my dog Amos. He's a good helper. And here at my desk, I've got some documents linked. Here's the calendar for our lectionary calendar. We follow the lectionary. That is the calendar of scripture that many denominations use together, including the Roman Catholic Church, the United Methodist Church, many other traditions hold this in common. And that is one way that we embody unity across all of our differences of denominations. And I like using it personally because a lot of our folks their parents or they might also attend non-affirming churches on Sunday. And so it's important for me that they hear the same scriptures that will be preached in a non-affirming church, but they hear it here first on Saturday. and they hear it from our affirming perspective a day before. And so for me, that's really important. And it allows us a way to hold things in common and also to show other perspectives so that folks who go to a more conservative church, or the word I use is exclusionary, can go into that setting having heard beforehand an affirming approach to the scriptures that they will likely encounter. So let me just share in Discord our this live, and feel free to drop in the comments if you are live here with me, live on YouTube, sharing some of my pre-worship. All right, let's go back to YouTube, see how this is going. And if you're in the chat, let me know if you've ever worshiped with us before. We would love to have you here anytime. This is a space that is dedicated for LGBTQIA plus young adults, but we are open to folks of all generations as long as you are LGBTQIA plus affirming. And so that's how we keep this space safe and a space where folks can be themselves. So once again, you are invited to join us here in our virtual church on the Gather platform. Let me pull that back up here. And let me take you to, this was my office, as I said. I'm just preparing the sermon for today. Let me walk you up. So if you arrive here at our virtual church, you will likely arrive in our lobby here. We're still decorated for Christmas. And you'll follow the blue footprints forward to the sanctuary. The pink ones here that go to the right lead you to my office, and the blue ones lead you to the sanctuary. We've got a labyrinth over here to the right, an ancient Christian practice that we have repurposed in a physically accessible way. So if you are someone with a physical disability and have not been able to do a labyrinth, then this is an opportunity, if you would like, to participate in this ancient practice of meditation. And you can read more about that by pressing X here in our campus next to this sign, and it will give you more information as you go through the labyrinths. But now I'm headed up to the office, and Amos is going to stay on the ground floor. Headed up to the sanctuary, rather. Welcome to our sanctuary. If anything glows yellow in the space, that means it's interactive. So you can press X on your keyboard and something will pop up. In this case, what pops up is the link to our last worship service. So you can take a seat here by the fire, relax, and watch last week's worship. Got our baptismal font here at the entrance to the sanctuary. That placement for all my liturgical nerds out there, historically, as part of church architecture, baptismal fonts have been at the entryway, marking physically the entrance into the community that baptism means theologically. And so here it marks the entrance into our community. And you can read more about the United Methodist theology of Holy Communion at this book that we have linked here next to the baptismal font. So this space is interactive and meant to be a space for you to nourish your spiritual life however you feel comfortable. So we've got different resources linked throughout. This is where we have worship every Saturday in our sanctuary, and we gather around these little couches, and these couches work as private areas so that you can, what happens is if someone else is sitting at this couch, we can talk to each other, but anyone else who's not at this couch, if someone's at the couch next to us, they won't hear us. So it's just like we are in our own private room in a physical space. We're able to just talk to one another. And so if someone was over here in this couch, they only talk to the folks on this couch. And like a physical space, if someone is at the microphone, then everyone in the room can hear and see me when I'm at the microphone, like a physical space. And so everyone in the room can see and hear me from the podium here, from the pulpit, and the folks here can talk to one another, hear what's going on, and discuss together. Our worship we believe in the collective wisdom that everyone brings to the space. And so we've repurposed the Wesleyan small group model into our time of worship. So the early Methodists, John Wesley and his besties at Oxford, they gathered in small groups and talked to each other about their life of faith. One of the questions was, how is it with your soul? And these small group conversations have been central to a Methodist Wesleyan understanding of what it means to be a person of faith, to our spiritual life. And so during our worship service, my mini sermon is only about 5 to 7 minutes. And then most of the worship service is spent talking in small groups around these virtual couches for 12 minutes, discussing the theme of the day. Today, we're preparing for worship for Epiphany, and the theme is Epiphany, together we shine. And so folks will gather around these couches and learn more about Epiphany and talk, sharing with one another what makes you shine. What about this church? This church helps you to shine a little bit brighter. And how can we, like the Magi in the story, be better allies to one another, like the Magi were allies to Jesus, not turning him into Herod, but looking out for him and putting their lives on the line and going out of their way to make space for him and to ensure his safety. So we'll talk more about that in our worship service today. That's just a little bit about our space. Continuing up, this is the altar. So this area is called the chancel, and this is our virtual chancel. We still have our Advent wreath here, all lit up nicely. We lit one candle each week. Our fabulous liturgist Casper lit those candles each week of Advent. This is our lectern where the scripture is read, and our podium where this mini sermons happen. This is the backstage area. Again, another private space so that we can prepare for worship as folks are entering, talk with one another, get centered. This is the altar at the back of the space, at the back of the chancel. Over here, we have our little music area where our music minister, Jonelle, leads us in praise each week. And then a little prayer chapel, other interactive pieces for your spiritual life. One of my favorite artistic theological works by Harmonia Rosales called The Creation of God. And you can come and meditate with this image at any time. And this is our prayer chapel. You can learn more about votive candles. If you've ever been to a cathedral or other chapels in Europe, maybe you've seen votive candles before. You can learn more about them here. We have virtual votive candles. And there's different meditations linked around these chairs. So if you see here, we've got a chant, a Christian Benedictine chant. Here we have a Buddhist chant. And we've got different meditations here, as well as a book on, let me get that to show up, a book on our theology of Holy Communion, the Red Book, right here. So lots of different ways for you to nourish your spiritual life with us online from wherever you are. And that's really what I love about this. And then I'm going to pop off as I finish preparing for worship. But what I love about this space is that growing up, I always wanted to be a pastor ever since I was a little kid. My younger brother and I used to play church together in many different places and have little worship services and Holy Communion, build chapels outside or in the car. And what I love about this is that you can take church anywhere. Church is always accessible. I can always take time to go to the sanctuary and meditate and pray, to do a walk here around the labyrinth, to hang out with others around the virtual couches. And that's really what I love about our virtual campus here on the Gather platform, is that I can just come to a sanctuary anytime. It is always with me. And it blurs the lines, right? It clears the lines between what is a sacred space, because right now I'm in the study in my apartment, and this virtual sanctuary. And so it queers the division between secular and sacred. And so anywhere you are is sacred, and it reminds us of that. So, yeah, this just a little bit about our virtual church here, Church of the Young Prophets by Young Prophets Collective, an entirely LGBTQIA plus led faith community that is funded by the New England Conference of the United Methodist Church, where I am a pastor. And so I welcome you anytime, especially on Saturdays when we have worship from 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time in the United States, 5 p.m. in the UK, 6 p.m. In Central Europe, and 8 p.m. in East Africa. Once again, I'm going to pop off here so I can get ready for worship with the team, but I'd love to see you anytime here. In order to keep the space safe, an admin has to be present the first time you try to enter. And so I recommend coming during worship time. But you can also come to one of our events throughout the week, which you can find on our Instagram page, Young Prophets Collective, and you'll find more there. So we look forward to welcoming you here where all of who you are is celebrated in this community. And I hope you